Like, how does this happen? You know what I mean? Like, how does this happen, dude? Because from what I read, it wasn't even that hard to get into. So, in my opinion, I mean, people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is potentially the biggest gaming leak in history, in gaming history. I could be wrong. There might be something I'm forgetting, but because this leak covers so many titles that are unannounced. Now, granted, they're not all for sure to come out, but still,
Yeah.
I think that alone makes this credible for like the biggest gaming leak in history. So Nvidia, the database for Nvidia was recently hacked into very easily, mind you. Apparently, all you have to do is like unlock your GeForce Now is all you had to do, and they got into the database. Like, that seems stupidly easy. So of course, with the remote work that we've had over the past year and a half now, going on 2 years, a lot of developers working from home, they're using like Nvidia servers to work on games, test different things. Because one example is in this database, you'll find, I think it's New Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario Galaxy, one of the two, because they're on a Nvidia cloud over in China. So, I mean, that's just how it is. Everyone's doing stuff on the cloud now to work on their games. So when hacking into this database, there were so many unannounced titles, as well as unannounced titles for PC potentially. And it's just like, dude, this list is astonishing. So let's kind of run through some of the stuff that was announced. And mind you, the stuff I'm about to call out, it doesn't even scratch the fucking surface of what was on this list. So some first things that was on that I want to shout out is some PC ports that are apparently on the way, potentially, of God of War, Returnal, Ghost of Tsushima, and Demon Souls. These are all things that we would expect, especially God of War. I would say God of War is probably the one that's coming after the Nathan Drake one, the Nathan Drake Uncharted collection. We know that's coming. Like, Sony's already confirmed that's coming to Steam, so God of War is probably going to be next, because that's a conversation we've had before of where, like, hey, is Sony gonna really make their own client on PC and build their own base on PC as well? I will say there was no mention of Spider-Man or Bloodborne, two other kind of popular Sony titles. But then other things that was on there, the GTA Trilogy remasters, 3 Vice City and San Andreas, all mentioned, of course. BioShock 2022. That's interesting. That is very interesting to what they could be working on over there. A code name of Fight for Middle Earth, which obviously just being a new Lord of the Rings game. Hopefully this is not just like some random like one-off game reboot. Hopefully this is actual like third game to the 2 that we had.
Fight for Middle Earth just makes me think of was it Middle Earth, Battle for Middle Earth? Do you remember that? It was a third-person over-the-shoulder action team fighter.
Maybe not that. The only ones that I immediately think of.
Was it called Conquest? It might have been called Conquest.
It might have been called that, because like the only Middle Earth games that immediately come to my head was the last 2 that we had, where it's like the Shadows of Mordor or whatever, and the Ghost of Mordor, I think, whatever it was.
I mean, I'd be happy for third game of that series, but Fight for Middle Earth just makes me think of the team-based fighter. It was more or less like a Team Fortress 2 Lord of the Rings is what it was. It was
when did that come out?
It was on the
like 360 maybe?
360 PS3 area. I'm pretty sure it was either called Battle for Middle Earth or Middle Earth Conquest.
Okay. I know in that era you also had War for the North, which was apparently a phenomenal game.
It was very fun.
Yeah, that's one that I never played, but I've heard from like Andy and Nick that game is just absolutely just incredible. Hopping down from there, going to the rest of the list, Half-Life 2 Remastered, which that would be very interesting. Obviously, fans have clamored for Half-Life 3 like forever, and we had Half-Life Alyx. I feel like at this point, they're afraid to make Half-Life 3 because the expectations on it. You know what I mean?
Valve just can't count to 3 as everyone is designated, so.
That's fair. That's fair. Titan Quest 2, Payday 3, Kingdom Hearts 4. That's an unannounced one there. Monster Hunter 6, Street Fighter 6, Judgment with, they'll have mouse and keyboard support, City Skylines 2, Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider 25th, Gears 6, another one there, Tekken 8, Titanfall 3, okay, shout out to that, Destroy All Humans 3, Crisis 4, is Crisis 4 about to have a crisis incident?
I doubt it. They've sort of fixed their shit since Crisis 1. So.
All right, so we're not going to have another Cyberpunk soon. Okay, good to know. Resident Evil 4 Remake, hopping over there. We've kind of known about that one for a while. Final Fantasy VII remake for PC. Final Fantasy IX remake. That, and keyword, it did specify remake. So I was like, ooh, that's potentially a big one there.
I'm sort of curious why 9. I mean, I always knew 7 was big. I didn't realize 9 was as big as it was with its weird cast of people.
What's the one behind you? Is that 10?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. I didn't know if that was 9 or not. I couldn't remember.
Nope.
I'm not a Final Fantasy guy, so I couldn't remember. I just knew that display was one of them. Chrono Cross Remaster, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Catherine Full Body for PC. No Persona 5 mentioned though. That's one that is currently still only on PlayStation 4 at this time. BioShock RTX Remaster. Mirror's Edge RTX Remaster, but Batman Arkham Knight RTX Remaster, and there was a couple games that was listed that has been confirmed since this leak. Like this leak only happened this week, and since that, then there has been a couple games announced, like Outcast 2, Destroy All Humans 2 remake, both of those being at the THQ Nordic 10th anniversary event that took place this week, and Brothers in Arms, which I know for Destroy All Humans 2 remake, that was one that you were actually kind of excited for.
Yes, because Destroy All Humans was a very good
I love it.
series.
I love it.
Until I forget which one. I think it was the third one, which sort of killed the series. Everyone sort of fell off, and then the game just disappeared till last year.
Well, maybe with the second one, with the remake, keyword remake, not remaster, remake. They're trying to maybe kind of bring some life back into it. But like I said though, when it comes to this list, this does not even scratch the surface of what all was on here. Like I've only picked out some what I consider key titles.
Yeah,
I mean there was so much more. I know there were. I want to say there was no mention of Halo 5, or it was like Halo 5 was on there because as of now, all like the other 4 Halos in Reach are on PC currently. I don't remember which one it was, but I do know like Microsoft came out and said don't expect Halo 5 on PC anytime soon. Nvidia also did come out and say that this list is real. They did confirm, yes, that is a real list. That is our database, but they did say that the games are speculative at this point, which is fair because I mean, this, in this database, they also had some older listings. For example, does anyone remember what was supposed to be the next big AAA title, Scalebound, that got canceled? That was on here. So I mean, this is very speculative, and we don't know what's all going to come out of this. Some of this could be them just like testing to see if this is a game that they want to do, whatever. I feel like we could probably handpick some in here and say, yeah, that's coming out. Like Kingdom Hearts 4, let's be real, that's coming out. We know that's going to happen.
Is it?
Come on, it's gonna happen. People need their Disney cringe of Kingdom Hearts.
I was about to say Kingdom Hearts 3 was pretty cringy. I don't know. Some people fell off from it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, some people embrace that cringe. I am not one. Gears 6, that's one that we can go ahead and expect to happen. Now this is more your domain here. Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6. I'm assuming those would for sure. I would safely assume those would happen. I would assume those are being worked on.
Tekken 8 possibly because it's been a couple years since Tekken 7 and it's no longer getting any kind of content update, just live service updates. Street Fighter, I don't know, maybe. I don't stick up with Street Fighter. I know the scene's still pretty consistent in it, so maybe.
Bless you.
Thank you. Besides that, yeah, no. Tekken could use it. Street Fighter, I mean, it wouldn't be out of the realm of seeing a new one, but I know its scene's still pretty strong.
Right. Now, you're a big, Apex Legends player. Do you think that that Respawn would also go ahead and do like a Titanfall 3? Because we know Apex is within the Titanfall universe. They've already confirmed that. Titanfall 1, great game. Titanfall 2, fun game. Titanfall 2, while it still has a very tiny community, it's still there. I mean, if I hopped on, I think I have it for PS4. I'll only have I think it'll have probably 1,000 players on there. I mean,
yeah.
it's small. Titanfall 2 also, what I've heard recently, is pretty much unplayable. The game has been hacked top to bottom, where it is completely unplayable and dangerous, mind you. Because the hacking is so bad, it could fuck up your console or get your private information and stuff, because apparently Respawn doesn't fuck with it anymore, and that's the problem, where the hackers are running rampant because Respawn doesn't touch the game anymore. So once I heard that, I was just like, okay, well, that possibly kills any chance for a Titanfall 3. So seeing Titanfall 3 on here, It just makes me think that they were just looking at it. I don't know. I just feel like Respawn right now, they're enjoying their money basket of Apex.
I mean, I feel like that was because, as you said, this has a lot of older games on there that are no longer or out of commission now and no longer being developed. And actually, in some Apex interviews, they've actually mentioned that Apex was initially the starting point was a possible Titanfall 3, which fell into a different line and became Apex. So that could be data from back when they were testing stuff and looking at whether they were going to go Titanfall 3 or what ended up eventually becoming Apex. Because a lot of that stuff was there. So, I mean, as you said, right now, currently with Respawn and EA's just current focus on stuff, I don't see Titanfall 3 being an actual thing, and think it might possibly actually be from just
the past
when they were playing with stuff, and building Apex and stuff like that.
See, while I loved the first two Titanfalls, I'm very much on that boat with you. I feel like seeing Titanfall 3 is just it was them testing around, seeing what they wanted to do. You know, I just feel like what you just said. I feel like they're pretty satisfied with what they're going on right now with Apex. And plus Respawn's the one that's also doing the Star Wars games.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. But I mean, this is a very interesting list. Like I said, a lot of games that are just unconfirmed at this time, unannounced, and big titles. You know, Kingdom Hearts, Tekken, Street Fighter, Gears, Titanfall, Crysis, the Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, of course. That 9 remake caught some eyes. So I mean, like, dude, this is like the biggest gaming leak in history, in my opinion. There was also the code name for like the next Call of Duty called Codename Cortez, I believe it was, which that's the one that Infinity Ward is doing because they swap off every year.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's supposed to be a sequel to the 2019 Modern Warfare, to my understanding. So I mean, it's whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm so far past COD.
I mean, the only thing from this list, at least you have here, that I need more about is Payday 3, since we know that's an actual thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know you're a Payday guy, so. No, I mean, dude, super interesting list. I mean, what about what are your thoughts on potentially getting a BioShock next year? You're a big BioShock guy. Shout out to the display behind you. There's only 3 BioShocks, right?
Yeah, there's only 3 BioShocks. I mean, I would be completely hyped with a new BioShock. I mean, I had fun with BioShock Infinite, but it was sort of in a lackluster point compared to 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall it was fun, but the overall story sort of lost a lot of people, especially with the whole end multiverse thing, which got really weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't be against a new BioShock. I would be curious where they would go with it, seeing as they went from the sea to the sky, and whether they'll go somewhere else or they'll try and recreate a new city under the ocean.
I still think it's funny, your story for how you almost did not play BioShock initially.
Hey man, Fear fucked me up.
Yeah, so the story was you just finished playing Fear and you tried BioShock because it was like, cheap or free or something, right?
Well, no, what it was I had been playing, because this was back when Gamefly was a thing.
Oh, okay,
is
right.
Gamefly still a thing?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Shout out to Gamefly. They're standing the test of time.
Well, I had Gamefly back then, and I had gotten Fear from him. So I had been playing Fear for like the last couple weeks.
Right.
And I finally sent it back, and they sent me BioShock, which was still fairly new. I think it was still the first month of BioShock being out.
Uh-huh.
And the initial scene of BioShock is the whole plane crash, everything. You swim in the water and go to the tower, and you walk in the tower, and it's just pitch black in there. You open the door, it's just pitch black, and you see a single light, and just because I've been playing Fear so much, I went, fuck that! turned off my console, and went and did something else for the rest of that evening. Then I came back like a couple days later and went, I guess I could see what happens. And then it just goes through this whole thing. I was like, oh, that wasn't really as bad what I was expecting.
I love that reaction of, okay, nope, fuck that. Turn off the console. I'm done. No, thank you. Oh, that's funny, man. That's funny. Well, I mean, I want to also double down on this with the PlayStation only games that we have on there. I'm gonna go ahead and double down on it. I truly and honestly believe we're gearing up for a Sony client. I really do, man. I mean, if they're bringing some big titles like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Returnal's becoming a bigger one, Demon Souls, of course. Man, I'm telling you, go ahead and put money on it at some point. Maybe it might be next year or something. I think we're gearing up for that Sony client that we've talked about. It makes too much sense from Sony's perspective. You know what I mean? To have their own client where it all just goes to there, so they don't have to split any profits with Steam. So I'd gear up for it. It's happening.
I wouldn't be surprised because Sony's been slowly these past couple years just being more open and allowing their titles to go over to other things. So
Yeah.
them expanding over to PC and having their own client and whatnot would not be surprising at all, and would stick in Sony's wheelhouse of, yes, we will share now, but it's still ours.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that does it for the show. We hit everything that we wanted to hit for our talking points here today. Zach, do you have any last thoughts on anything that we talked about? Any, last GameCube shout outs, any Nvidia thoughts, anything, any more Deathloop thoughts you want to throw out here before we get out of here?
I mean, I think the funniest thing is Nvidia going, just someone was able to get to the database just by cracking their Nvidia. And I'm pretty sure Nvidia went, well, no one's going to crack it. They're buying it to play games. Why the heck would they crack it? They're just going to play games. And just that one bored bastard going,
let's unlock this.
I bet I could crack this. I wonder how well this would run if I cracked it.
And then the biggest database in gaming history, all sorted by the publisher and everything, man.
It's the Fapageddon all over again.
Yeah. I mean, and also one last tidbit on that, like there was a lot of other listings that are just like untitled insert publisher name. Like I know there was one for Respawn. It said Untitled Respawn game. So like I said, if you guys get a chance, go look at this list. You can find it on Reddit. You just go on Twitter, look up Nvidia leak, whatever. Go on Reddit and find it. You can find the list for yourself. I mean, it's massive. It's huge. Yeah.